Okay, we are back and we are blocking in our values, and it's part 1. And this time we are using a gloss glazing liquid. I got rid of the matte medium completely. I feel like the gloss glazing just really makes everything easier, smoother. I just want it all my layers to be super thin because her skin is very transparent. So I'm jumping right into the gloss glazing liquid. If you had somebody younger that has thicker skin, then a matte would be a good place to start. And what I'm doing is like any other one, just finding my darkest values first. So in the eyes, like as you can see, I am actually just using a liner brush with just almost straight black plus your glazing liquid though. Because even though it looks black, in real life, if you were sitting where I was sitting with the same lighting, you'd be able to see that everything was very transparent still, even though this is my darkest value. By adding that transparent layer, when it dries, it's still you're going to be able to see the gray underneath it slightly, which will soften the effect of the wrinkles. So at this point in time, it's best to kind of get your darkest values in first, because we don't want lines, like I said before, we don't want black lines all across her face. And since we are doing a layering effect along the way of our layers, then all those lines will be softened just by the process of adding more layers. I do want to note too, I'm adding black on a lot of wrinkles, but not all of them. I'm only putting the black on the places where you're seeing it in the photograph. So if you're not seeing the wrinkles look dark, as in like they're not getting, there's not a big shadow in the shadow or in the wrinkle, then you don't need to do it, because not every wrinkle is going to be in shadow like that, depending on where the light is coming from. So only do the one, just only do the ones that you're seeing in your photograph. It looks like I am also adding in the shadows for the hair. And remember, the shadows in the hair are the shadows underneath the hair. That's something that we don't think about very often. And I know I've already said it a bunch probably in this class, but if you add the shadows of the hair onto the skin to begin with, then later on when you add your layers of hair on top of it, that will already be there. You won't have to think about it. And then you can just focus on your darkest layer of hair, and then your midtones, and then your highlights at the end. I think that when you have something that's complicated as far as like information goes, it's not, for me, I actually enjoy painting people with more character, with wrinkles, scars, like people that have life on that they're showing. I enjoy painting those more. I don't think it's as complicated for me than it is with someone with flawless skin or smooth skin or like perfectly straight hair. That is actually way harder for me personally to do, and I think it's just because there's an expectation of flawlessness, which puts pressure on you, I guess, a little bit as well. I don't know. But anyhow, when you have someone with character, with wrinkles, with life, it's more fun to kind of let go and focus on the beauty of the person and say what things are going to stay and what things are going to go. And as you can see, by using that white transfer, the transfer does go away pretty quickly. If you were sitting where I was and the lighting was the same, obviously, if you were like doing this painting, you'd still be able to see that white transfer coming through the painting. It's just that the way the video is picking it up makes it look more opaque, and that I'm almost like the lines are completely gone, but that's not really the case. Your lines, even white transfer lines, don't really go away until the very end, because you're doing so many layers of a transparent, you're doing so many transparent layers that you're still going to be able to see it until you kind of add the final layers, and you kind of bump up your opacity by adding white or lowering the amount of glaze that you have, gloss glazing liquid you have. I am using it looks like I'm using the blender brush. Blender brushes are great to add very soft transparent layers because they're such a soft, kind of like fluffy brush as it is. So when you add it in, you could kind of pat in just real soft, fluffy layers. And that's really good for skin. I'm starting to add in some highlights, and the highlights are still they're not my lightest value. They're somewhere in between it. And as you can see, I'm sort of adding, I guess we'll finish that thought in the next video. Okay, I'll see you there.